Hello and welcome to another update video about Cardano. Just a quick one, really just to confirm that we are still on track here. No changes really to my last video. The price is really getting squeezed as well. Similar to many other cryptos, they are now in a descending wedge. Yeah, we did that before, and that was here. You can see that in orange here on the left hand side. That was in June 21, where the price did break out of a descending wedge and confirmed basically the return to a new uptrend. Overall, what Cardano is doing, it is correcting all of that previous uptrend here, yeah. And this just takes time. It just takes time. It was a huge move up, and Solana is now correcting it down, like many other cryptos, maybe with a little bit less volatility, but overall the process is the same. So it has moved down 70%, 75%, I think. Other cryptos have already lost 80, 85%. So Cardano isn't really doing anything different. It just started a bit earlier. And of course, it's difficult for Cardano to start a new bull run when the whole crypto market is still correcting down. So we've seen here in this chart, you can see actually that Cardano has tried to break out of this channel to the upside a few times, failed, and now we're getting closer and closer to that resistance level of that channel, yeah, or also in this descending wedge. And it will be interesting, I think, the next few days, because the price needs to make a decision here. We are really getting squeezed here into an apex, and you can even move, I mean, I created that new line just for that descending wedge. You can even move it a little bit like that, just to make sure that it aligns. And in this scenario, there isn't really a lot of space here in this descending wedge. And depending on how you draw that descending wedge, the first target of that wedge, if we break out, and again, there is no guarantee it does break out to the upside. What you always want is a retest of the wedge and then a volume confirmation. You want to see increased volume. If that doesn't happen, there is a risk it just trails on sideways, yeah? Absolutely, we've seen that before. So you need the volume confirmation and you need a retest ideally. Sometimes there is no retest, and some people like to trade without a retest. I usually like to wait for a retest, especially if I use it in my short-term trading portfolio. But I already do dollar cost average in at the current levels into Cardano, and that goes into my longer-term swing trading portfolio. But this here would really be an opportunity again for a short-term long trade. Overall, you could even argue that the whole thing here could be regarded as a descending wedge. That whole huge pattern that we are doing here could be regarded as a descending wedge in some way. And you can see that depending on how I draw it, yeah. And of that wedge, the price target would be the beginning of the wedge, which would be the all-time high. But if I leave it at the smaller wedge here, the price target would be around 150, maybe all the way up to 160. Yeah, and that would also be a 100% profit from where we are, which doesn't mean we couldn't drop lower. So in this other wedge that I've shown you, the larger wave, there is the larger wedge. Yeah, I mean, this is a small one, so let's see how that plays out. But if we assume that all of this is a descending wedge, oops. So there, as you can see, there is much more space and much more room for further downside potential. Yeah, it doesn't mean just because we've got a wedge pattern here, it doesn't mean, and it depends on how I draw it, yeah. But it doesn't mean we couldn't drop lower into this region here. I said before, Cardano doesn't need to get into this region. There are other cryptos that need to do it. Cardano doesn't. Yeah, and this is the 78 to the 88, 78.6% FIB level to the 88.7, and Cardano has already made a lower low compared to that wave A. So it has done the minimum requirements to fulfill the correction, which doesn't mean the correction needs to be over, but it means that the minimum is fulfilled, and all we need now is a confirmed breakout to the upside. It already broke the 61.8% FIB level, which is at 96 cents, and therefore it is just logical to assume that as long as we are either in a descending wedge or in a descending channel, that you're going to see these lower levels here between 30 and 55 cents. Only quick update today, really, but just confirmation that we are still on track, and to watch out for that potential breakout of that smaller descending wedge that I've just shown you. Right, hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, and if you really like the content, then check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.